Hello, this is Dr. Rosie Kuhn, and this podcast series is called Aging Like a Guru, Who Me? Today we've been talking about living and dying, knowing the inevitability of death, making choices on how to live, and how many of us were afraid to die, and so we keep doing things so that we shouldn't die or maybe won't die. But most of us are afraid of living because when we live, we are, I think my perspective is when I think about really truly living fully in my fullest expression of self, then I am more vulnerable to attack. I'm vulnerable to humiliation. I'm vulnerable to disrespect or judgments, being killed, the worst of the worst, being annihilated, rejected. So quite often people stay safe. I know for most of my life I've played it safe. I've stayed in relationships and tried hard to work at making it work and living in hope that perhaps it will work, when the truth was I knew from a very early stage in the relationship it wasn't going to work. But I didn't allow myself to know that truly and to live in, I don't want to do this. I want to live well. I want to live happy. I want to live in fulfillment. I want to live in joy and creativity and fun. My daughter and I had a conversation the other day about all my boyfriends, and I have been married quite twice. And so we were both talking about, this guy and that guy. And there was a guy named David Kale. Great guy, really great guy. I mean, they're all great guys. But she said, I like David best. And I said, yeah, I like David best too. I was most myself with David. Now, I was with David for a year. I laugh because I'm 67 years old and I've had a lot of relationships. And here, this one relationship out of all my life, that includes brothers, sisters, family, parents, all of those, my best year was with David. In that 1 year, I felt I was most myself. And so that allowed me to ask the question, what, we're trained so much to live in other people's perspective and judgments and interpretations. This is what you do. This is how you should do it. This is the proper way of doing it. This is the mannerly way to do it. This is the appropriate way to do it. Your father did it. Your mother did it this way. And so it's your way. This is our culture. And at some point, we do get a chance to choose for ourselves what that is and how we're going to do it, if we want to. When we get married, we are basically marrying, generally speaking, two cultures: the culture of your partner and how they were raised and what they were raised with as right, wrong, good, or bad. And then there's your culture and how you were raised with right, wrong, good, or bad. A lot of conflicts in marriages is because of the way we were trained versus, hey, what really works for us? How do we want to move forward in our life together? How do we want to raise children rather than, well, this is the way my mom did it or this is the way my dad did it. This is what's expected. It's like, well, what is it that you want? What is it that you want to see for your life, your expression of that? So each of us has our own life process, and we all have the opportunity to live that. But it means looking at, am I afraid to live my life? Am I really afraid to make the choices that make me happy? I was watching a show on Netflix, and this guy is a bricklayer, and he's like 55, and he says, I have always wanted to be a baker. Always wanted to be a baker. And yet here he is being a bricklayer. And he's questioning that, and he's that dilemma of, do I live my truth and my passion, or do I live what's expected and, the hand-to-mouth more perspective of survival? Joseph Campbell says this, and this is, I think, a really useful, beautiful quote. Where there is a way or a path, it's someone else's way or path. He says, I have a theory that if you are on your own path, things are going to come to you. They're going to come to you. Since it's your own path and no one has ever been on it before, there is no precedent. So everything that happens is a surprise and is timely. Now, given our culture of, going the way that everyone else is going, this particular path, this quote of Joseph Campbell's is kind of like, wow, yeah, I'd love to do that, but, and it's all those buts that get in the way, our little buts, and our what ifs. What if I did that and it didn't work? What if I did this and it didn't work? We're always like, what if it doesn't work? And the thing is, it's not supposed to work. Like, oh, you get one shot and you do it and it works. And okay, great. Now you're successful forever. Life isn't meant to be that. Life is meant for you to figure out, to come to find who you are in there and how you be in the world. What's the character of you? What's it like being you? A long time ago, when I was 41, 42, I was sailing for a couple of years. And at one point, we were in a really bad wind storm that came up for a very short period of time, but it knocked the boat down. It knocked the boat over, and hundreds and hundreds of gallons of water were pouring into the boat. And it looked as if this was going to be the end. I was I was in the moment of going, okay, I'm dying. This is the moment I'm dying. And it's like in this moment, I probably felt like I had a few minutes before, the water got too deep. And it's like, what am I going to do while I'm dying? I'm like, wow, what a question. That's what showed up in the moment that this boat was beginning to sink. And it's like, what am I going to do while I'm dying? Do I want to just freak out and scream and yell and cry and, oh my God, this is horrific? What am I going to do? And it's like, well, I know where a pump is, and I know how to get to where the pump is, and I know how to pump. So I think I'll just go do that. And it's probably not going to work, but at least I'm doing something. So I went and I found the pump, and I stuck it out the window, and I started pumping a little hand pump. And this is hundreds of gallons of water coming in. But the boat began to right itself, and we didn't sink. And here I am 20 some years later. But it was a moment of, oh my God, I didn't freak out. I said, what is it? How do I want to die? In a sense, how do I want to live the rest of my life? In that moment, it seemed very short-lived, but it was still a question of how do I want to live? And we each have that opportunity to take our own path, to discover our own path. And another thing that Joseph Campbell says, and I'm not going to get it right because I'm just remembering the gist of it, which is the darkest moments in our life is when it appears as if a path is not there for us. And we're so likely to want to take somebody else's path. And when we do that, we miss the opportunity of knowing ourselves and what is our own unique path. And do we have the courage? It's not do we have the courage. We have the courage. We came here to explicitly demonstrate the courage to be who we are. And it's really, sometimes we think we're alone. We think we don't have anybody here who's going to support us or guide us. Every single one of us, if you look around you, every single one of us is, I'm pointing my finger at no one here, but I'm pointing my finger and saying, all of you, all of us are here afraid. All of us are saying, hey, how do I be courageous and demonstrate that I am a being that has an enormous expression to bring to the world? How do I do that? How do I find that? How do I explore that for myself? Well, I myself have studied the Course in Miracles, which is really helpful, but very intense. And I read Oneness, which is a book that was transcribed by Rasha, R-A-S-H-A. You can find that online. And a lot of self-exploration with myself. And I work with coaches, and I work with people who have abilities that can help me. They're good thinking partners so that I can hear myself when I'm doubting myself or ignoring my brilliance and my radiance and my fullest expression. I wrote something. You can find this on my website, theparadigmshifts.com. And it's a article blog called "Am I Worthy of My Own Expression?" Am I worthy to be the fullest expression of me, whatever that means, however that shows up, with that, whatever choices that are right in resonance with me. So I love this piece that Joseph says, since it's your own path and no one has ever been on it before. Isn't that extraordinary to consider? No one has ever been on your path before. That there is no precedence, so everything that happens is a surprise and is timely and is yours as a gift. And you are the gift to us. So I'm going to leave you with that for today. Be curious about who you are. Be curious on how you allow yourself to be your fullest expression. Be curious how you allow yourself to hide out and play small or just not be ready yet. And that's basically it. You're either ready or you're not ready. If you're not ready, you're not ready. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely, positively, thumbs up, 2 thumbs up to know when you're not ready. And how do you know you're not ready? Because you're not doing it. That's all. Get yourself a coach if you want. Get yourself a therapist. Get yourself some good books. But most importantly, listen to yourself. That's the biggest exercise available. Free. All right. Big hugs to you. Blessings and bye for now.